Hello, race fans, and welcome to another night of action here on the Elite Racing Network for the fifth round of the 2026A Infinity Graphic Design Dev Series from the Virtual Phoenix Raceway. I'm Mc Intosh, joined by my buddy Cameron Rich, and Chris Wright is going to be on the controls for you tonight. If you missed last week, Jimmy Hayden was your winner on the high banks of Daytona when we kicked off Speed Weeks, and while everyone else has been out on the coast, these guys headed out west for 100 laps in the desert tonight. Obviously, I think the big talk of the town this week is going to be the Elite 500, but nonetheless, we still got to get through this action first, and some of these Cup guys came out here to Phoenix to get some development races in. So, Cam, we got a completely different feel from the racetrack that we had last week. This is a 1 mile oval, a little bit of banking, lots of bumps. You got the dog leg. There's a lot of different factors. What are you looking forward to here tonight?
Yeah, and keen eyes will actually notice this is the old Phoenix that we ran up until 2011. We have the front stretch being the back stretch, the back stretch being the front stretch, and so on, and a little bit less banking all around. But probably looking to just really get the braking under control here, because that's going to be the key, really up into turns 3 and turns 1. A lot of braking for these ARCA cars as we watched the latest number 22 of Andrew Hardcastle here. You're going to be hard on those brakes down here into turn 1, especially on the starts and the restarts. And one of the hallmarks of old Phoenix, I remember, is it's very easy to lose the car, especially right there in turn 1. So these drivers are just going to have to make sure they have their brake bias set correctly and make sure that they don't have any, quick reaction incidents where they have to get on the brakes really hard.
Absolutely, and I think something else that we're going to kind of have to be a little bit keen on is these guys. Obviously, you see Corey Abbott on your screen running the middle groove. Lots of different lines that you can use here, and I think it's probably going to be a little different. I don't know how long ago it's been since these guys have ran Legacy Phoenix, but also remembering that the start-finish line is on the straightaway and not in what would be New Phoenix 1 and 2. Or, no, 3 and 4. But would be Old Phoenix 1 and 2, New Phoenix 3 and 4. That's what I meant to say. Don't worry about it. And we got about 17 seconds left in qualifying here. Eckrich right now looking to take the pole. See Corey Abbott finishing up his qualifying run. Other guys notable in the top 5: DeGavin Higgins, Caleb Pecumer, Cale Pocock, and James Watson.
It's looking like a pretty tight field too. Only about a tenth of a second for between the first 7 cars there. So I think we're going to have a pretty close race here tonight.
Yeah, this ARCA package is usually pretty good on these short tracks. Why don't we go ahead and run through your grid here for the 100-lap race? See Scotty Eckrich. I believe it's going to make sure Scott Eckrich is going to be on the pole. Gavin Higgins to his outside in that 20 machine. Caleb Becumer P3 with Cale Pocock lining up P4. 5th for James Watson. 6th for Corey Abbott. 7th for Austin and Abnett. 8th for Dylan Javier, a couple of Lake Norman teammates. Paul Mikulicek P9 with Frank Fody P10. Pete Morales is going to be 11th rolling off. 12th is going to be, I can look on my screen, Dylan Slepian. 13th for Harrison Talon. 14th for Noah Brown. 15th for Dominic Wright. 16th for Jimmy Hayden. 17th for Bryce Fody. 18th for Andrew Hardcastle. Jaden Racimus 19th and Rashav Khosla 20th.
21st is going to be Logan Key in number 3. Samuel Malone rolls off 22nd. Dave Huckleberry rolls off 23rd. 24th is Pierce Hausler. 25th is going to be Sam Boutwell. 26th, Josh Osborne, who he will be actually going to the end of the line tonight for tallies, so he will not be 26th. 27th will be Shea Mitchell. 28th, David Westergreen. 29th, Connor Thompson. 30th will be Scotty Larson, and 31st will be Carlos Acosta in the number 02. So one of our smaller fields tonight, actually, surprisingly enough, but 31 cars, still a lot of action going to be happening here tonight at Phoenix. You see your track facts there, track temperature and all that. Same shape as Phoenix is nowadays. It's just they kind of redid the actual track part there. So 100 laps, 3 sets of tires, and Ty, I think these drivers probably, knowing everything that's gone on this week. We've had the iRacing Official 24. We've had a lot of Daytona here in Elite. I think these drivers probably going to be enjoying this change of pace here tonight.
Yeah, I something that I think would maybe make it interesting. We talk about the Daytona 24. What if this race was actually ran on the Phoenix Roval? If that was a possibility, it'd be kind of crazy. Now that I'm kind of thinking about it, that would actually be kind of sick. So, thanks for tossing that one to me. That was actually Seth Rollins just challenged me to mention the Phoenix Roval somehow, like literally 2 minutes ago, and I'm already done. Thanks, Seth. Scotty Eckrich is going to lead us to the green here. See Gavin Higgins on his outside. We mentioned that. Caleb Akumer has dominated the early part of the season. I mean, he's been really good. I know he had a little bit of misfortune at Daytona, and I think that gave the points lead to Jimmy Hayden. Unless I'm incorrect, which I could be. But you never know. It's hard to keep up with these things on these big jobs.
Yeah, and I'd say for Caleb, not really unexpected either. Daytona is just one of those races where it's 50-50 whether you really come out with a clean car and a good finish or not. So unfortunately for him, he hasn't, but he's shown plenty of speed at the other tracks where I think it's not going to matter too much for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been lightning quick on the mile and a half. We saw him win the opener at Old Atlanta, and then he went out and he won the race at Belle Isle. So we get ready to go green here. Pace truck is in. Green flag is out for Scott Eckrich. He's going to get a pretty decent jump on Gavin Higgins, have a nose out front. Maybe a little bit of a struggle there getting from second to third gear there for Gavin Higgins. Not quite clear is the 5 of that Shifty Sports machine. A little bit of contact. He went up just a little bit. Going to modified clear him. Gavin, maybe not happy with that. Goes to get right back down to the inside. Oh, good charge from the 20. Caleb Akumer getting a little sideways. I think Higgins is going to lead lap 1. Barely.
Yeah, and it's so hard to get the power. Oh, big crash here. 24. I think that's Jimmy Hayden.
Oh, no. Last week's winner. Oh, my
Here's Hausler.
Okay, it's the ARCA brakes race for ARCA. Yeah, that's something. Jimmy Hayden, last week's winner. Pierce Hausler involved. Somebody ARCA braked right into that.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happened here. That's huge for our points leader.
Yeah. Pete Morales just clears himself. Jane Racim's getting damage, and who's that? There's Pierce. And then who is that? Oh! I think that's Scotty Larson. With some pretty significant damage there to the front end of that machine.
Yeah, that's
Pierce Hausler is crabbing.
Pretty bad damage there for a few drivers there. You see Josh Osborne just not able to slow up for some reason there, and front end of his Gargon. Scotty Larson here looking like he
yeah,
it is hard to slow up, but I think he could have done a little bit more there.
Had about a half a straightaway to see it, but you know, horse or close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So it's right on board with Connor Thompson. He seems to be okay. Pierce Hausler, however, is not. He was dead sideways. I think the skew on that thing might be a little deadly. He's probably going to be done for the night here on lap 3. Not much of a change at the front, though. Scott Eckrich still your leader. Gavin Higgins second. Caleb Akumer third. James Watson does pass Cale Pocock for 4th, putting Cale 5th. So he's going to barely make it through. You know, I'm glad to see that on Legacy Phoenix they kept those direct TV satellite dishes. Those are pretty sick. I feel like we haven't seen those in forever. If you still have a satellite dish, it's probably not functional. It's probably just sitting up there, but... And is he going to be able to stop is my question. Probably not. Well, he made me look like a liar. See Sam Boutwell on pit road fixing damage. There's Connor Thompson leaving. While we are working this yellow, what do you say we get a quick break in here, fellas?
Tickets for the 2026 Season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
Looking for a heck of a deal? You'll find it at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Right now, over $4,000 off 2025 Escapes, $2,500 off 2025 Broncos, and over $5,000 off select new 2025 F-150s. And the best part, every one of them comes with a Bolin lifetime powertrain warranty at no extra cost. Big savings, long-term peace of mind, all in one place. Tom Bolin Ford Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Back here at Phoenix Raceway, they're doubled up, rolling through turns 3 and 4. Pace truck is off. Let's try this again, shall we? Scott Eckrich going to lead us back to the restart zone. This time it's completely in his hands. Still a pretty decent jump over Gavin Higgins. They're going to be side by side. A little bit of 3 wide potentially in the back there. Caleb Humer's going to get a good run into the corner. James Watson also going to start to have a run. I think it's just the trickiness of the track, but right now we got a side-by-side battle for the lead. Gavin Higgins going to nose out in front of Scott Eckrich as we head to 3 and 4. Oh, Caleb Humer! Oh, James.
Huge.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah, Watson
David
got air. I
Westergreen,
think.
big one.
Lord have mercy.
David Westergreen involved. Dave Huckleberry. You see Bryce Fody. Yeah, I think James was expecting Caleb to go a little lower there, and see Dylan Slepian lifting James Watson off the ground there. Rashad Khosla involved, Josh Osborne.
Huckleberry, Westergreen, Osborne, but yep, like you said.
P. Morales again involved. Obviously not his doing this time, just kind of ended up there.
That I'm not really sure if I can pin that on either driver. I think neither of them had a clue where the other one was really, and it just kind of caused an accident. But
Yeah.
James turned in like he thought that Caleb was going to turn in a little bit earlier, but he just didn't. And but it's not to say that I think that's I'll have to look at that one more time, but that almost looks like a quintessential racing incident. And it's just a shame for everyone involved there that was a huge hit for all those cars.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're at a place like Phoenix where it happens quick, but also once you kind of get into the corner, you can't make a quick, slight move without unsettling the car, especially this ARCA car if it's a little snappy, which I think a lot of these guys were just kind of wrong spot, wrong time. You see Austin and Abnett, the trouble season he's had continues. The right front of that thing just gets torn up, goes all the way off the ground. Carlos Acosta taking some pretty good avoidance there. James Watson absolutely mangled. His unfortunate demise at Daytona. Getting by the wreck only to get picked off by it, I think. Yeah, I mean, that's... Caleb's expecting James to run a little higher. James is expecting Caleb to run a little lower. So that's just kind of the meeting of the minds there for those guys. Dave Huckleberry, nowhere to go. Track was blocked there for him. Going to be 1 to green. Field doubling up in turns 1 and 2. You see drivers getting off of pit road, trying to get as much damage as they can fixed.
So yeah, we're not even 10% of the way through this race, and we got a lot of damage going on here. So the ARCA bug is hitting tonight.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately not something that these guys are unfamiliar with. We talk about Daytona. I think we had 10 cautions before we even got halfway in that thing. So just early season woes for these guys. I think we're finally, I can't say finally because it's still happening, but I hope we start working through. See Scott Eckrich all over the back bumper of the pace truck as it's going to dive into pit road. Better jump for Gavin Higgins that time. Was Gavin the leader? Yeah, I guess he was actually. So Gavin Higgins, a great jump there for him. Eckrich is going to have to try to fend off Corey Abbott and Caleb Humer. He's going to do a good job of fighting Abbott off for now. Gavin Higgins has about a 3-car length lead over the 5.
That high side showing a lot of speed on these restarts too. So Gavin, he's kind of been running up there on the high side a little bit here in 3 and 4. Ran the low line there, but earlier on in the race he was showing there was definitely some grip up there. So we'll have to see if we can get some green running in here, Ty. The tires are going to wear off, and we'll see. I think we'll see these drivers moving all over the track.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, especially like the opener at Atlanta, which was probably one of the longer green flag stints that we had in these races. Caleb McHumer did really good. Scott Eckridge did really good as far as saving their tires and kind of managing everything until they really needed to push, and they felt like we were going to stay green for a while. So we'll have to see if that's going to stay true today. You see Corey Abbott, Caleb McHumer side by side with some pressure from Dylan Javier on the back bumper of those machines. Cal Pocock getting a little sideways might open up the door for Noah Brown to pass for the 6th position.
Noah Brown up 7 spots, so one of the drivers making moves here early on in this race. I think our biggest mover looks to be our Andrew Hardcastle, maybe up 8 himself, but I definitely expect to see that move because this is definitely not a hard track to pass at. If you there definitely is multiple lines there, especially in 3 and 4. You can make some moves. I think even earlier iterations of this car would prefer the high line actually running the wall in 3 and 4. So we might see that later on in this race. We'll have to wait and see.
Don't look now on the biggest mover train. A couple of guys who are up in double digits. Carlos Acosta started 31st. He's up to 13th by missing all that carnage. Sam Batwell just behind him in 14th, started 25th. So a lot of guys already taking advantage of the carnage. Maybe didn't have the greatest qualifying that they wanted, but that kind of changes when we got a situation like this. Corey Abbott, Caleb McHumer still side by side for the 3rd spot. I don't see much change in there. These guys are both really good at knowing where they need to put themselves and fighting hard and fighting clean. See Noah Brown getting around Cale Pocock there, now putting some pressure on Dylan Javier. What this is kind of doing is just bottlenecking that whole entire group right there.
Yeah, Corey Abbott actually got in the wall there off the 4 a little bit and saw some smoke there. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum, drive it way up high in 1 and 2, and that might not have worked so well for him because here comes Javier and Noah Brown looking there too. So Abbott, he's been one of those drivers up on the high side, maybe not by choice up to this point, but showing that there is grip up there, but it is dangerous because you're more at risk of getting in the wall there. Ooh, a little loose there, almost hit Noah Brown. Yeah, that 21 might be burning his tires up there a little bit too.
Not much of a change out front of these guys. Gavin Higgins still leads Scott Eckridge by a good bit. Scott Eckridge has also gapped Caleb McHumer thanks to that fight that they had there. That fight has just kind of moved from for the 3rd spot to the 5th and 6th position right now. See Paul Mikulicek, guy's actually the 8th position, but you know, math is hard. Frank Fody outside of Cale Pocock, a little bit of contact there. That was terrifying. I'm sure it was for Harrison Talon as well, who was directly behind all that.
Fody looking to make a move here on Hardcastle out of turn number 2, and I think he's going to have the nose out there, maybe take advantage of the high side here in 3 and 4 if he can drive it down there and get on that right rear of the 22. Not going to be able to get in the gas, but you might be able to do a crossover here. We'll see off of turn number 4, gets the nose down, but it just doesn't have the run to be able to do anything with it, so not quite yet. But Hardcastle a little sideways there into turn 1. I think that's what I was talking about earlier. Might have his brake bias set a little bit far back, and you got to be careful because the car will not hesitate to step out for you in that kind of situation. So right up here, Higgins, Eckridge, McHumer, still the same top 3. Higgins has been looking very strong in this race so far. I think the strongest showing we've seen from him so far in this series. So definitely think he's a short tracker by nature, I believe. So yeah, you'd expect him to do well at a place like this.
Yeah, he's always up front whenever the Cup Series goes to a place like Richmond or a place like Martinsville, those short tracks, especially. I think he ran really good in one of those Martinsville truck races a couple seasons ago as well. So somebody who you would expect to do well on these flatter mile and a half or mile length tracks. So you see right now Noah Brown all over the back of Dylan Javier looking to make some pressure happen there. Something I wanted to touch on as well, we talked about Frank Fody on that outside line. Phoenix is kind of a tricky one to run the outside line in 3 and 4 especially because there's so much wide open in 3 and 4, and then you get off of 4 and that wall just kind of sneaks up on you. So you gotta be careful, and I think that's something that we're going to see these guys get better at. As we're going to see Noah Brown maybe try to get a crossover here on Dylan Javier, get that run off the corner. Dylan's just going to get to the throttle a little bit quicker than he can.
Yeah, I'm over here with Noah Brown. He is right here behind Javier and trying to see what he can do through turns 1 and 2, driving it right down to the inside line, touching that yellow line just briefly, but kind of most people running that same line on that end of the speedway. I think down here in 3 and 4 is where we see a lot of change. Going to run roughly the same line as Javier. See if you can get. You got to be careful with that paint too, because that paint kind of will throw you sideways if you hit it. It's a flatter part of the racetrack, and it will take some camber out of the car, and that tends to throw you sideways. Noah Brown looking on the inside here of Javier, and as we go to a scenic cam, that battle off of turn number 2. What Noah Brown's gonna have to do here is try to drive it in harder, which he does right there into turn 3. Now it's gonna be tough because he's got to be on the brakes and see if he can slide up. I think he actually, right there, is going to be able to make the move. So a good little pass there for Noah Brown, move him up to the 4th position.
He's definitely been on the move. A little bit of a look through your top 10. Frank Fody 10th, Andrew Hardcastle 9th, Cale Pocock 8th. Paul Mikulicek and Corey Abbott right now fighting for the 6th position. Corey looking to maybe try to jostle that position away from Paul Bunch-Letters. Is not going to be successful just yet. Dylan Javier 5th, Noah Brown 4th, Caleb McKeemer 3rd, Scott Eckrich 2nd. Closing in on our leader, Gavin Higgins. He's probably cut that gap in half in the past 5 or 6 laps. Looking pretty good right now, especially on that medium run speed. We're not quite into the long run. I would say once we get to about 40, 50 laps, we're in the long run territory. But so far, so good for Scott Eckrich and Gavin Higgins.
Yeah, looking at lap times here, Eckrich and Brown were relatively close for a few laps there, but Eckrich is now about a 10th clear of Gavin Higgins, and definitely, you can see the gap is visually decreasing kind of lap by lap, and it's going to be a matter of inches with these ARCA cars because they don't have as much power as, say, like the Xfinity cars. So you can't really rely on, breaking traction or losing grip like you can with those cars. So it is just a game of inches here. With that number 66 of Pocock, he got around. No, he didn't get around the 22 of Hardcastle. So they're battling right now. Hardcastle looking on the outside through 3 and 4. Just don't think he's going to be able to keep in the gas there. And was actually under fire by Frank Fody there for a moment, but going to keep the spot here. But yeah, I think we are about as spread out right now as we've been this whole race. First best battle on the track looks to be about, say probably Frank Fody and Hardcastle now.
What I'm noticing watching Gavin Higgins and Scott around this racetrack is that at least in 3 and 4, some differences in their line. I mean, I think Scott's running a lot lower to the racetrack. Gavin may be running middle. You see Scott Eckrich is quicker, even if it's only by just a little bit or about half a tenth. So we're going to get a look at it here. Scott's going to be on that yellow line on entry and let it wash up. Gavin's kind of doing a diamond kind of deal there, so he's getting the run off the corner. Both of these guys starting to push out towards that outside wall, so maybe getting a little snug, just trying to get everything they can out of it. Higgins actually a little bit quicker than Eckrich that time.
Yeah, interesting seeing how these drivers are doing it differently here because you can definitely see that, but Eckrich kind of keeping that gap at about 3/10 or so right now. It's very close. What he's going to really need here is probably a couple more laps and then maybe Higgins to change his lineup a little bit more like he has. But yeah, I think with these ARCA cars too, that I've heard the aero wash is pretty bad really at any racetrack. So mirror driving kind of a necessity, something you got to really know how to do with these things to keep your position there. There's McKeemer and Brown going at it. Brown actually, looking at his lap times, he is one of the quicker cars on the track. I think the 59 is starting to hold him up a little bit. You see a bit of what we used to call a truly train behind him. And about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8, 9 cars that are kind of in a line behind that 59 right now.
And it's always a tricky spot, right? Because sometimes, you can be quicker than somebody, but trying to find that window to make that pass or to get that opportunity to open up, it's kind of a game of risk versus reward, right? If I move this guy out of the way right now, or if I try to make it work, am I going to wreck him, or am I going to put myself in a situation where I have to worry about consequences later, which is exactly what you don't want to do, especially if you're racing somebody like Caleb McKeemer, who is fighting for the championship pretty swiftly. You don't really want to do anything to make an enemy, and I think that's what Noah Brown probably has on his mind right now.
Yeah, that and the fact that Noah, he just hasn't really had a good season up to this point. Has not really had any good finishes. It's been involved in someone's accident pretty much every week, I believe. So he just kind of needs to get the points where he can and kind of get the momentum rolling in the right direction. So running right here up in the top 5 in 4th position right now, fighting for 3rd. That's exactly where he needs to be.
Not much of a change between Gavin Higgins and Scott Eckrich. I think that we're looking at the best battle on the racetrack right now. Noah Brown pretty much quicker than Caleb Pacumer just about everywhere, just trying to figure out a way to make that work. We're going to see him go down to the inside here, decides it's go time. Ooh, washes up a little. Thought there was going to be a little bit of contact. I don't think he's quite clear. Caleb Pacumer, though. Caleb's going to make that outside work and get the huge run down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Modern Phoenix, this will be 3 and 4, and this will be kind of like battle for the championship territory, almost some contact there. Kind of remember back in 2021, I think it was, when Daniel Hamrick sent it there and kind of won a championship out of it. So not that way today. We are not doing that in this series, and got plenty more laps of this action, but definitely, you know, quintessential Phoenix action, even with a different racetrack. You kind of see those same moves here happening now with the different banking they have, and of course the dog leg, which is really I guess their kind of shtick, I guess. That's kind of the thing they promote nowadays, is the dog leg. So that's grass now. They can't do that now. You got to race the racetrack like it is, and these guys are doing well.
Absolutely. Noah Brown still trying to put the pressure on Caleb Pacumer. Maybe a decent shot at him here as we head towards turns 1 and 2. Going to maybe think better of it. Try to set himself up for 3 and 4, where I think Noah Brown, that seems to be his strong suit right now. Getting down into turn 3, sailing it in there, trying to get clear on somebody. I think that's probably his best bet.
Yeah, no, look now. The gap between Pacumer and Eckrich up the road is 4 seconds and increasing somewhat every single lap. So Pacumer, I wouldn't say he's doing bad here. He's running up there in third and doing a great job, but definitely pace-wise seems to be struggling a little bit compared to what we've seen from him this season. Just not able to have that extra, 1% that Higgins and Eckrich have right now.
Absolutely. I think the frustration might be growing there in car number 65. Just feels like he's quicker. Maybe Caleb is aware of that too, but just trying to fight him and hold him off. But I think as this goes on, if it goes much further, we're going to see a couple desperation moves out of car number 65. But not just yet. They're still side by side through 1 and 2. Contact on the exit. I don't know if that was Caleb moving down or Noah moving up through the dog leg. Dead even as we enter 3. Still dead even. Noah's maybe going to get an advantage on the bottom for just a second. Not quite clear, though. Caleb Pacumer's going to keep holding him down there.
And that's so frustrating as a driver. That's so frustrating as a driver, because if you're Noah, you're clearly faster than the 59, and right up here off of turn number 2, really off of turn number 4 as well. You just don't have that room to slide up and do what you need to do. And these drivers doing this, running side by side, they've lost about a second and change to Higgins and Eckrich up there, who themselves are actually getting a little bit closer than we've seen at this point. Noah Brown, a little bit of a good run there. He actually has the spot at the line, but here into turn number 1, Pacumer's going to cut down there and make it difficult for him. He has every right to do that, and some contact there off of turn number 2. I think that's what Noah has to do. I think he just has to. Oh my God, he's going to be taking 3 wide actually, so he's going to have to now fight off both of these drivers. And that just made the situation 10 times more complicated for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I was a late Norman teammate to the 59, the 57 to Dylan Javier. Going for a move there. It looks like it's going to kind of stall out. Paul Mikulaychuk now going to move up to the 5th spot if he can get around Dylan Javier, and it's going to put Noah Brown right back behind Caleb Pacumer, but out front, down to 0.2 of a second, Scott Eckrich and Gavin Higgins. I think it's about to be the same thing, just kind of on a replay here for the lead instead of for P2 or P3.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to think these drivers are probably absolutely loving what they're seeing in the mirror, and that's nothing because they're in a different zip code at this point. They're going to be able to fight it between themselves without having, the mess that's going on behind them kind of affecting that. But yeah, definitely, I think Eckrich has shown that he has just about the same speed as Higgins. He's been running right there in his tire tracks all race, getting the nose right up under there on the left rear through 3 and 4. Yeah, Higgins is loose. He definitely is trying what he can to keep that number 5 behind. And I think that right now, Eckrich might be the quicker car by just a little bit over that 20. There, I think right there. It's going to have to be now or never for the 5, I think. He was in the wall there. Going to have to probably try something here on the 3 and 4 end of the speedway. Trying that high line. It just doesn't seem to be there right now for these drivers, but Getting a good run there. He's not going to lose too much time. I definitely think I expected the high line to be a little bit more strong than it was this race, but definitely a little bit further on back. Brown and Picumer still going at it. These two will not let each other go. And you could tell, yeah, definitely. You could tell Brown is getting frustrated. He's sliding up a little bit more and more each time off of turn number 2. And, you know, see there, Paul Michalacik, he has actually gotten into this fight now because these two drivers cannot, you know, get away from each other.
Scott Eckrich all over the back bumper. Gavin Higgins once again. You saw Gavin, maybe some desperation blocks there in 3 and 4, trying to keep Scott Eckrich away from him. I don't know if it's going to happen for much longer. See on your screen, Noah Brown, Paul Michalacik now fighting for the 4th spot. Oh, contact there between those two.
Noah putting a lot of faith in the netcode tonight.
Yeah, kind of swinging for the fences and hoping to hit some home runs, or maybe not hit some home runs in that case. But right now, Scott Eckrich going to be looking to the inside of Gavin Higgins for the lead as we head towards 1 and 2. There's going to be a lap car in front of him. It's the best that it's ever been for Scott Eckrich to try to get a shot side by side exiting 2.
And that lap car is going to complicate things here. He's going to stay very low. Well, I wouldn't say very low. He's kind of in the middle of the track there, but they do get around him. And Eckrich drove it in there and into turn number 3. Almost swiped the rear end of that number 20, but he's going to get a good run here off of turn number 4. And there we go again. Battle for the lead. I think this carbon copy of what we saw last lap. I think Eckrich is going to send it in here a little bit harder up into the side of that number 20. I think they are just rubbing doors just a little bit. There's another lap car in front, but yeah, just so hard as we've seen Noah Brown to make that move on the low side before that number 5 of Eckrich. He's going to send it off into number 3 and actually do it here. See if Higgins can make the crossover. Not going to quite be able to do it. Loose off of turn number 4. And yep, I think give Eckrich the lead there. So we might see him drive away now.
Scott did it just strong enough to where he could kind of slide it in there, get to the middle of the racetrack, and get that run off the corner. And it kind of took anything Gavin Higgins could do and nullified it. And if Scott's able to get a good corner here, I think he might start to pull away. I don't think there's anything that Gavin Higgins can really do. Meanwhile, you look at your screen here. Noah Brown has fallen down to the 6th position now. Paul Michalacik up to 4th. He got around Dylan Javier. So Noah Brown probably fighting some tire wear struggles right now after trying to fight for 3rd with Caleb Picumer there for so long.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's exactly what's happening. Just, you know, that will happen to you if you mess around with another car too long. Don't really get back to being single file. You can risk burning up your own tires and get yourself in trouble. So unfortunately for Noah, I think he's going to be looking for a caution here because there's a lot of hangry drivers behind him. I was going to say hungry, but I think tonight they are probably hangry. 21 of Corey Abbott, 41 of Frank Fody. Dylan Javier's been working on him for a few laps here, and there he goes. He's going to take that 5th position away.
Oh, we got a yellow.
We got a caution.
Josh Osborne.
Yep.
Around in turn 3. Have to get a look at the replay cam here to see exactly what in the world.
And yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing there, Ty. Brother thought we were at a like a motocross track or something.
I have questions.
Well, at least that makes race controlling easy. So.
Yeah, you know. let you go handle that business, and while Cam is going to do that, and we're going to let these guys rack up for a restart. Take another ad break.
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Racing isn't easy. but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here at Phoenix Raceway, working our third caution of the day. First stealth spin on the 07. Gavin Higgins still your leader after some pit stops. Paul Mikolaychik jumps up to second. Caleb Pakumer third. Dylan Javier fourth. Noah Brown fifth. Cale Pocock sixth. Harrison Talon seventh. Looking like a potential issue for the number 5 machine. He's going to be down in about 20th on this restart. Maybe a speeding on pit road. Pace truck is going to pull in. And Gavin Higgins is going to lead us to the restart zone. And a huge jump over the 77, probably the biggest one we've had for the leader all day. Caleb Pakumer going to follow him through for the second spot. Paul Mikolaychik's going to fall to third for the minute. And maybe not quite. They're still going to be side by side. That's going to allow Gavin Higgins to get a jump. Oh, Carlos Acosta!
No caution for him.
Get it going. Doesn't look too bad. Looked like he might have got a little loose. Might have got turned. Nope, just loose. And then some contact with the 54 over Shav Kuzla. Able to get it back going, though. Out front, still green. Gavin Higgins with about a 4/10 of a second gap over Paul Mikolaychik. Caleb Pakumer and Dylan Javier all fighting for the second spot. Noah Brown trying to get his nose involved in there.
Yeah, Pakumer now on the inside of that battle between himself and Brown, so he's now on the opposite end of that, and we'll see. Well, he's actually going to slide up right in front of Noah Brown. I thought we were going to see the opposite of what we saw. Well, actually, I think we will maybe here. Noah Brown taking that outside line and maybe going to be able to do something with that 59, and now that he's not stuck on the inside, he's actually going to be under fire from Cale Pocock there in the 66, who's looked pretty strong all race, kind of right up there in the middle half of the top, or middle part of the top 10. Oh, Brown on the outside now, seeing what he can do. Gonna actually, take the position away from Pakumer. Now Pakumer's falling back a little bit.
Yeah, I think what we might have seen there is that Caleb might have burned his stuff up a little too early, trying to fight Noah Brown and try to get caught up to the leaders there. So maybe we're seeing him try to back that up. Maybe he didn't like his tire wear numbers when he got to the pits. Tell you somebody who must have, Gavin Higgins, pulling away from Paul Mikolaychik and this whole field. Probably one of the biggest leads he's had of the night. Oh, Frank Fodi! Off the nose of Dominic Wright, it looked like. Just gets loose.
Fodi down. Yep, Fodi down into Dominic there.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty easy call there, I would have to say. See him hit that little leap that we've got there. Put that number 41 machine in the outside or in the inside wall. Not quite sure what the fuel number situation is, but I would have to imagine that these guys are probably close to being able to make it to the end, if not already there. With how long we ran in that green flag run, they might already be there.
I think with some cautions here, technically speaking, these drivers could go the whole race on a single tank, but Definitely, you probably aren't going to want to do that with the tires situation.
Absolutely not. No. See these guys coming down pit road. Dominic Wright, Jaden Racimus, Scott Eckrich. Yeah, Scott Eckrich. Back down pit road. Have to see something else happen to him. I'm not quite sure. Maybe just getting fresher tires. Maybe felt like he used his too much on that restart. There wasn't a whole lot of restart really to go through, but it's going to be a 4-tire stop for car number 5.
Yeah, and that's an interesting call for him because Eckrich, he really just showed a lot of speed earlier on, so I'm not really sure what he feels like he needs, but definitely feeling like that he's going to sacrifice a little bit of track position for it.
Something we haven't really had the chance to touch on. Dave Huckleberry, you're probably seeing him on your screen, not in the Purdue car, but let's just say he lost a bet, and he has now the 2025 national champion Indiana Hoosiers on his car tonight. He lost a bet. To whoever he lost a bet to, this is the first time I think I've ever seen Dave run a school that is not Purdue ever. So you're a good man for that, making him switch it up. It doesn't look that bad, I will say. I know Dave's not enjoying it, but it doesn't look bad.
Yep, been there, done that. Lost a bet myself, and you know, I think I unfortunately won in the car I had to run the bet in. So maybe that might be some good luck for old Huck there. He's had a rough one up to this point. We'll see if he can turn it around.
Going to be 40 laps to go here when we get to the restart zone. Gavin Higgins, Paul Mikulicek, your top 2. Noah Brown, Dylan Javier, your third row. I can't do math. Caleb Pakimer, Cale Pocock. And another good jump for Gavin Higgins. Noah Brown's actually going to be to the outside of Paul Mikulicek here as we head into 1. Might have a good fight. Something I'm seeing, it's like these guys get to the middle of the corner on these restarts, and they push so hard that they get tight and kind of give it to the other car in the other lane. Noah Brown started to do that at first. He and Paul Mikulicek, though, still side by side.
Yeah, and I saw some of the drivers during practice, and this car seems to have a bit of a nasty tendency to, in the middle of the corner, it gets a little bit dead, so you feel like it turns and then it stops turning, and it really doesn't seem to give the drivers a lot of feedback when that starts happening. So they're kind of having to really go off of, I hate saying it like this, but they're having to go off of vibes and feel, really maybe pick a point on the corner, like a billboard or a mark on the wall or something, to be able to do that, because there's really not a good, it doesn't seem like there's a good mechanical feel in this setup for these drivers. They're not having a good, they don't know when to get get back in the gas really through turns 1 and 2 seems to be the problem spot. So interesting to see that kind of thing with the setup, though. You know, maybe, I bet that would have to be because there's no actual setup for this track. We have a battle for the lead.
Noah Brown all over the back bumper of Gavin Higgins, looking to the outside. Something that we've not seen many people be able to make work. The only person that I think we've seen even remotely get to close to making it work was going to be Scott Eckrich, who unfortunately is outside the top 10. A little bit further back, Cale Pocock, Caleb Pakimer there side by side for the 5th spot. Cale's had a good night, but a quiet night. He hasn't really been involved in anything. We haven't called his name too much, other than the fact that he was running inside the top 10. Seems to be just kind of having a nice, peaceful night.
Yeah, I think that's good for him. You know, it's been one of those seasons for him. It's been a pretty good season. Had some good runs here, but you really, it's really hard to keep that kind of momentum up in a series like this, where there's so many different levels of talent, and you know, someone like Caleb Pakimer, who's been dominant up to this point. So yeah, I think doing exactly what he needs to do here. You know, learning. That's what the series is about, learning. I think he's doing a good job at it.
Noah Brown out front, still all over the back bumper of Gavin Higgins. I think pressuring Gavin pretty significantly, and something that Gavin hasn't really felt since the 05 or since the 5 of Scott Eckrich was up there. Apologies, but I think we're just kind of to this point where early run, it's hard to make a pass work unless you really get a mistake out of the guy in front of you. And Noah's gonna have to be patient. We saw how patient he was with Caleb. Speaking of the 5, underneath the 47 is Sam Batwell. Maybe not a whole lot of room given to him there.
Yeah, that was tight, definitely, for sure.
he's going to have to just let that position go for right now. Have another chance at it in 1 and 2. Sam just running that middle groove, able to kind of pinch Scott to the bottom of the racetrack.
And that's one of those areas too, Ty. You've been here, I've been here. It's frustrating as a driver because, you know, Scott Eckridge, he probably feels like he should be in front of most of these drivers behind where he's at. But well, especially, you know, he was battling for the lead, took it from Gavin Higgins here. He definitely probably should be, but, you know, with issues he's had. Noah Brown, dude, that was a hard hit for him. He's going to lose second to Michael Alayton here. I think Brown's going to be feeling something there too. That was a pretty hefty hit. Let's check the right side of that race car. I don't see a terrible amount of damage here. If he got it flat, it might be okay, but that just definitely, I mean, what I've been talking about, he probably tried to gas up here in the middle of 1 and 2 and just did not get it right. Into the wall he went.
Yeah, and I mean, doesn't seem to be too bad as far as the damage goes, but it's almost going to be race over unless we get another yellow and he's able to come in and get that thing touched up. And, well. Oh. Just see what happened there. It's the 07 to Josh Osborne again. Loose once again. Yeah, that's, I mean, if his day wasn't already over, it's over now. Tally or no tally, it would be over, but
yeah, that car is I would say it's done so. That's got lots of damage on every corner of it.
Yeah, smoke pouring out the back. While we're here working this yellow, what do we take another ad break here? We're about 30 to go.
Tickets for the 2026 Season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Looking for a heck of a deal? You'll find it at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Right now, over $4,000 off 2025 Escapes, $2,500 off 2025 Broncos, and over $5,000 off select new 2025 F-150s. And the best part, every one of them comes with a Bolin lifetime powertrain warranty at no extra cost. Big savings, long-term peace of mind, all in one place. Tom Bolin Ford Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Back here at Phoenix Raceway, got the 1 to green signal. Lots of different strategies here. 4 drivers electing to stay out. Rashad Colso, Sam Boutwell, Gavin Higgins, and Frank Fody. Or not Gavin Higgins. I think it's just 3. It's just 3, actually. I was wrong. It is just 3 cars that stay out. So Rashad Colso, Sam Boutwell, Frank Fody, they stay out. Gavin Higgins, who was the race leader, restarts 4th. Paul Mikolajczyk 5th. Dylan Javier 6th. Noah Brown 7th. So we do have the lights back on the pace car.
Yeah, no worry there, Ty. In the words of another commentator here on the Elite Racing Network, I was told there wouldn't be math involved.
Yeah.
Those small numbers, you know. Didn't actually see what happened here to extend the yellow.
Yeah, I that's what I was just looking for. I mean, I saw Shea Mitchell stop on the exit of the pit lane to not get a penalty, but I can't say that I thought that would extend it.
Well, either way, we're going back green this lap regardless.
David Westergreen was in that first wreck, and he's still fighting strong. Just outside the top 10, I believe, in 11th. So, good recovery drive from him so far.
Actually, car we'll have to look at. He did show some speed on that one long green run we had up to lap 50 or so. So definitely, I think there's a lot of resilience in the driver of that number 9. We'll see him probably make up a few more spots before the end of the night here.
So we're going to have 27 laps to go this time by. Rolling into the restart zone, pace truck is going to be in this time. Rashad Kolsa with the lead, and he's going to get a huge jump here. Got a huge leap all the way to turn 1. Sam Boutwell going to be side by side with Frank Fody. Yeah, we'll have to get a look at that. That might have been a... Yeah, that's a black flag for Rashad Kolsa. Going to move out of the way. Go serve that. Frank Fody now going to be in control of the lead. Noah Brown, Caleb Akumer going to get by him. Oh, we're wrecking again.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happened there.
I don't see... Ah, there's somebody back there. Looks like it might be Scott Eckrich or Harrison Talon. It's going to be Harry up into the outside retaining wall off the nose of the 5. Sorry, we were handling a little bit of race control business. Let's see. Lots of stuff going on the race control side of things. Frank Fody is your leader after all that chaos with 24 laps to go here from Phoenix Raceway. Take one more break while we work through some stuff.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here at the Phoenix Raceway, 1 to green here as the field is going to pace through turns 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway. Frank Fody is your leader on a strategy call. Sam Boutwell third on that same strategy call. Gavin Higgins, Paul Mikolajczyk, they are positions 2nd and 4th on fresh tires. Noah Brown 5th on freshies. Caleb Akumer 6th on fresh tires as well. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Tally on that last yellow is going to go on the 5, I believe, or maybe it's just a racing deal for missing the corner there. That was one of the decisions that we had talked about. Frank Fody going to be in control as we hit the restart zone. He's going to get a good jump on Gavin Higgins. Sam Boutwell did not get too good of a restart there. So Gavin's going to be able to clear into P2. Paul Mikulicek clear of Sam Boutwell. Boutwell now going to have to fight off Caleb Akumer, but battle for the lead. Gavin Higgins down to the inside of Frank Fody. I'm not expecting too much of a fight out of the 41, but he might look to prove me wrong here.
I think he just did.
Yeah, side by side as they exit turn 4.
Actually hanging tough on the outside there, even through 1 and 2, where it's a little bit harder. I think he's going to finally lose it here, but what a fight from the 41 of Fody there.
Yeah, Gavin was struggling to get that move done for a little bit there. So that's going to push him through to the lead. Paul Mikulicek now going to have to work around car number 41. Caleb Akumer already made his... Oh, boy.
Almost saw the 9 of Westergreen. He sent it off in a 3 and almost got in the side of Pocock there. Thought he was going to lose the rear, but he kept it under him. These drivers are definitely driving a lot harder than they have all day.
Oh, Sam Boutwell going to hang on to it. After a hop, a skip, and a jump. Looking back at it. David Westergreen, Cale Pocock, side by side for the 6th position. David Westergreen on the move since that first wreck. Frank Fody still holding off Paul Mikulicek, Noah Brown, and Caleb Akumer. Nobody able to get around that 41 right now.
A lot of cars there with that Brown, Akumer, and Mikulicek. Yeah, those 3 have been near each other all race long, and they cannot get away from each other. And right now, Brown on the bottom trying to get the gas up to 3 and 4. Not going to be able to do it this time.
Ooh,
that outside line just proving to be Noah Brown's Achilles heel right there.
Akumer actually kind of popped it into the wall a little bit. Noah's going to send it through 1 and 2 one more time and kind of brush Paul up the racetrack. It's going to put him back side by side with both cars, not just the 77. With about 17 to go this time by, we're getting close to the push time. You know, there's not as much need to save tire anymore. Speaking of somebody who doesn't have any tires, Scott Eckridge, he's going to get underneath Cale Pocock. He took his last set already, so if we get a late yellow, he's going to have to stay out.
And that's not going to be well for him. You see him actually running way up there on the wall, trying to get some momentum. He's going to cut down here in front of the 9 of Westergreen, and definitely it does seem to be useful. He does get the run up onto the back end of that number 66 of Pocock, but
oh, contact Noah Brown, Paul Mikulicek.
Yep. They keep it under them.
No door banging. Caleb Akumer's going to mug them both.
Mikulicek into the back of Noah Brown there. I'm not sure if he quite enjoyed that move or not, but like hard racing to me.
Caleb Akumer's going to get all the way to P3 after that, set his sights on his Lake Norman teammate. Here comes Cale Pocock. Scott Eckridge getting up here now. Paul Mikulicek probably frustrated. Went from P3 to P6 now, about to be P7.
Yeah, and that just is not great as a driver, especially here with 15 laps to go, because we've seen it is not super easy to pass here tonight. It does take a little bit of finessing there. As Brown got a little bit loose off of turn number 4. With his friend Mikulicek behind him. Now Mikulicek having no Pocock is sideways. Keeps it under him. He's going to lose one spot there. Only 1 spot to Eckridge. That was actually really impressive on his part.
Frank Fody starting to struggle really hard here. Caleb Akumer all over the back bumper of his teammate, I would have to imagine. They might try to work something out here. Maybe not make Caleb fight too long and burn up some tire. Here comes Noah Brown. As Caleb is stuck behind Frank, Noah's just kind of sneaking back up on him.
Here comes Akumer. Move on Fody through 3 and 4. We'll see if he can make something happen. I think with the fresher tires, it's going to be not much of a fight Fody can do, and certainly there. Give second place to Akumer. I would have to expect that Brown's going to be following here pretty shortly.
Yeah, he's going to get a really good run here. Scott Eckridge also going to put some pressure on Brown. Frank's able to make that top side work for just a little bit, but Noah's starting to get that momentum back.
Brown on the racetrack
he's been so good at. 3 and 4, see him wash up just a little bit. Frank's going to get tight on the exit, and that's going to give Noah the momentum. He's going to be just about clear, but not quite. Eckrich going to actually push the 41. I don't know if he's aware of the tire situation there, but that's a choice. Oh, Scott's actually just trying to get the best lane for himself, I would suppose. Because, I mean, he's went from the top to the bottom, back to the top.
Probably just hoping these two figure it out here pretty soon, because I think he looks like he's pretty quick himself. And yeah, Brown just on the bottom there, that's where he's been most of the race, fighting somebody, and he just doesn't have something in his car or something in his driving, you know, of this track where he can make that move here off of turn number 2. It's tight again. He just cannot do that. It's got to be frustrating to him, because he's seen other people do that move and he just cannot do it himself. So he might be under risk of losing that spot to Eckrich here.
Cody's now able to get a little bit of a run by himself, not have to worry about the car below him. It's going to pull Scott Eckrich by the 65 for the time being. Frank's going to put that dirty air on the nose of the 65 machine of Noah Brown. A little sideways for Noah. Out front, though, not much has really changed. Caleb Akumer has not cut into the lead of Gavin Higgins with about 9 laps to go this time by, coming to 8. Oh, Noah Brown contact with Frank Fody.
Oh, that's a stack up. That's going to be a wreck here, I think. Oh, they keep it for now. I think we might be good. Wow, we're 4 wide here in turn number 1. Contact again. Heavier. Not even really sure what happened there. I think the initial contact was between maybe Brown and Fody.
Yeah, I know Paul Mikolaychik was not happy.
Now we got
some choice words.
A lot of cars behind there, yeah.
Yeah, he had some choice words for Noah Brown there. 7 laps to go, coming to 6 this time by. Gavin Higgins, Caleb Akumer, nothing to really worry about. Scott Eckrich trying to get to Caleb Akumer right now.
I'm pretty surprised they were able to go 4 wide and not crash there myself. That was pretty interesting. Michael Atchik here under fire from losing a couple more spots here. He definitely lost a ton of momentum from that little scuffle a couple laps ago. I can see why he's a little bit upset. But definitely just having to stop the bleeding now, about to lose the spot to Corey Abbott. And, you know, just that bottom side here tonight just seems to be a bit of a death sentence for some of these drivers. You get down there and there's just nothing you can really do. So Michael Atchik just kind of squeezing himself up between there. Corey Abbott and Dominic Wright. Somebody hit the wall there.
Austin and Abnett into the wall. Andrew Hardcastle. Gavin Higgins, 4 laps this time by. Eckrich has got to Caleb Akumer, but as that one song by JoJo says, I think it's going to be too little too late.
Yeah, Gavin Higgins has pretty much been in a... Besides the one time where he lost the lead to Eckrich, he has kind of been in his zone tonight. So I think we definitely know which car was at least consistently fastest here tonight, without the mistakes that put Eckrich back there to where he's having to fight back up. But you know, even still, getting back up to 3rd, it's going to be I think for Eckrich, I think it's going to be a night of what if, because if we don't get a caution, he's not going to be able to catch Higgins for sure. That's just too much of a gap to you know, do anything with. He might be able to get Akumer here. It's going to be tough here. Ooh, up in the wall almost is Westergreen. That fight has raged on for the back half of the top 10, 8th, 9th, and 10th or so. And Westergreen's going to lose out a little bit.
Yeah, somebody that wishes that first wreck didn't happen, or at least he wasn't involved in it, but he's done his best to rebound, and sitting inside the top 10 right now is the best he can do. Gavin Higgins right now out of turn 4. Gonna get the white flag. What a race it's been for him, right? We talk about starting up front, driving away with it. I think he was the pole sitter as well, so pure speed. He started 2nd. Scott Eckrich was the pole sitter, but Gavin Higgins, a dominating performance despite all the cautions. little bit of a fight with Scott Eckridge, but ultimately a penalty is going to end Scott Eckridge's bid, and Gavin Higgins is going to win the Phoenix 100 here in round number 5 of the Infinity Design Dev Series.
Gavin's first top 5 of the season, actually. So, yeah, one of those drivers looking to turn their season around here tonight, and I think doing it in a winning fashion is about the best way you could possibly hope to do it.
Come to the line. Scott Eckridge, Caleb McHumor. Scott almost got to him, but Caleb was able to hold him off. Gavin Higgins going to burn it down here in Phoenix. Run through your top 10. Gavin Higgins, Caleb McHumor, Scott Eckridge, Cale Pocock, Noah Brown, Frank Fody, Dylan Javier, Paul Mikulicek, Corey Abbott, and David Westergreen. We will run through the rest of your grid and get our driver interviews after this break. The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Looking for a heck of a deal? You'll find it at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Right now, over $4,000 off 2025 Escapes, $2,500 off 2025 Broncos, and over $5,000 off select new 2025 F-150s. And the best part, every one of them comes with a Bolin lifetime powertrain warranty at no extra cost. Big savings, long-term peace of mind, all in one place. Tom Bolin Ford Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Tickets for the 2026 Season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
All right, back here at Phoenix Raceway. Driver interviews are about to get underway. Cameron Rich is going to be standing by with Mr. Scott Eckridge.
Scott, this is Cam Rich at the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Awesome, man. Well, a somewhat of a night of what is for you. I think you were the only car out there that looked like he could hold a candle to the 20 and actually pass him on the green and looked like maybe the car to beat there. But, tell us about your race and tell us what happened tonight.
Yeah, I really, really, really like Phoenix. So I knew I should be pretty competitive here. And definitely, if Gavin would have forgot about tonight, it would have been a lot easier of a night. Yeah, nature called really, really bad. So I tried speeding down pit road so I wouldn't go a lap down. And luckily we made it right before we went a lap down. But managed to rally back to third. I can't complain too much. It was definitely a really good run for him. He did a really, really good job.
Yeah, tell us about the tractor up there tonight. We saw it looked like it was actually pretty hard to pass. We saw a lot of a lot of drivers kind of get stuck there in the bottom, and there'd be a bit of a train of cars up there on the top, kind of holding that car down there. But did you feel like it was hard to pass, or the track was slick, or anything like that?
Yeah, this is kind of old Phoenix. People could try to hold you down. The only way to really counter that was to, drive in hard enough on the bottom, maybe clipping the apron a little bit to get it to turn still. But as you saw, that wound up wrecking a few people over the night. So yeah, I mean, it's a kind of a one lane track if you want to run the high lane to pinch someone down. So you just kind of got to use what you can. Hopefully you get side by side, and you more or less just got to send it into the corner and hope you clear them before they can throttle back up, on the other side of you. Other than that, the setup was actually fairly good. It didn't really feel like it got too loose or tight, if you drove it within reason. So I got no complaints here.
Absolutely. Well, we changed it up a little bit next week, just a little bit. We're going to the half mile down in Nashville, so that will be probably one of the races Elite has ever done. Knowing how this ARCA series has gone with the cautions, we're probably going to see a few of them. But how are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I'm not a huge Nashville fan, but I mean it's definitely a solid track. It kind of has a different vibe, so you can't hate that. And yeah, I mean it's the ARCA series through and through, right? It just no matter where you have it, that name seems to be king, right? It kind of dictates how things go. So I really can't complain though. Tonight was actually really, really clean start. We had a awesome run there. So yeah, overall everyone did a really good job, and can't ask for a ton better.
Actually, I just realized I'm wrong, and we are doing the half mile, but we're also doing the Super Speedway in Nashville, so it's a double header next week. So that will be definitely interesting. Two different types of racing, but yeah. Before we let you go, any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, well, in that case with the Super Speedway, they could turn that one into a mall for all I care. But just a big shout out to the Shift Esports guys for taking me on. I'm kind of a new hire for this season, so looking forward to running some stuff with them.
All right, excellent. Well, congrats on the third place finish tonight. I believe that was your first top 5 of the season, if my results are correct. And sure enough, I believe that is correct. So yeah, congrats on that. I hope to have you up in the booth here to talk to you more throughout the season.
Yep. Look forward to watching this back, and appreciate all you guys do for broadcasting this.
All right. And with that, I think Ty has Mr. Pecumer.
Caleb, it's Ty for the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, tonight was nothing short of the season that you've had. I mean, you've been always in the top 5, always consistent. And I know you had a little bit of a rough night in Daytona, but I think the guys that you were fighting for points might have had it a little bit harder than you did tonight. Obviously, you bring home a podium. How do you feel?
Man, honestly, usually I would be kind of bummed if I got P2 just because you're so close to P1, but I'm stoked with this result because there was 2 races this season where I just got hosed. So I feel awesome. I'm happy to be here.
I know obviously tonight was a little bit of a weird one. I know you and Noah Brown were side by side fighting hard. Obviously Gavin, I don't know what he was doing differently other than you guys tonight, but do you feel like you had a shot for him, or was it just kind of lights out?
Nah, man. Big shout out to Gavin. That's cool that he won because I mean, I just couldn't figure out how to get the same pace as him while also managing the tires. It was like if I tried to pick the pace up, I would just burn up. So I had nothing for him there.
All right, buddy. Obviously next week, doubleheader from Nashville. You got the fairgrounds and the super speedway. How do you think that's going to be different for everybody? Instead of prepping for one, they're prepping for 2.
Well, it's always harder practicing for two different tracks, and it always feels weird when you go from one to the other, and every track drives just a little bit different. So double headers are always fun. There's always new guys that end up doing good, specifically on double header nights. So I'm excited to see that, and yeah, should be pretty awesome.
All right, buddy. Well, I think you're going to take the points lead back over. All things considered tonight, I think Jimmy Hayden had a pretty rough result, so you should be back up there. But anybody you want to shout out before we let you
go? Yeah, big respect to Jimmy. Obviously, if he was in my shoes, I mean, he would be happy just like me. But he is a really cool dude, so I feel sorry for the result that he had tonight. As far as shout outs go, yeah, huge shout out to Bite Size Sports, of course, putting the car on the track. Shout out to JD Designs, Jonathan Cutlip for painting my awesome scheme. And shout out to all the Lake Norman guys. Everybody, well, it seems like Frank and Dylan, they ran really good tonight, top 10. Even Bryce, really close to the top 10. He's new to this whole thing. So, and then obviously huge shout out to you guys. I'll definitely be watching this one back.
All right, that's Caleb Humer, your runner-up, and I believe the points leader after tonight. And I would have to imagine that Cameron Rich is going to be standing by with our race winner.
Yep, Gavin, this is Cam Rich in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
All right, man. Well, that was a pretty good showing out there tonight. I think there was only one car that could hold a candle to your pace, and it was only for a few laps there, and he got himself into some trouble, and that was Scott Eckrich. But yeah, take us through your race. What was your secret out there tonight?
I didn't really have a secret. I don't know the last time I ran at this old Phoenix track, so I didn't really know what to expect. And I was not expecting to be that quick, but I wasn't quick in practice, and I laid down that qualifying lap, so definitely gave me some confidence. But it's pretty cool because I got my first elite win at the new Phoenix track, and then come back to the old one and win. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it was fun racing Scott. I think at one point we pulled away. It was like 5 seconds from the car in third. I'm usually on the other end of that, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of drivers out there had a lot of trouble passing each other tonight. We saw some, I guess, conga lines of cars trying to get around one car, and it was pretty tough. But it didn't seem like you had as many problems as some of the others. Was that we had pretty decent track position all night, but even still, did you experience any of that?
I didn't really have to pass that many cars, but I don't know how that would feel back in traffic. I was talking to Scott. He said it wasn't really that hard to pass. Just some people just refused to let him by. But getting around Frank there wasn't the easiest. It wasn't as easy as I thought. But I think he blew. I think it was turn 1. I think so. Other than that, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, looking at your results through the season so far, definitely a breath of fresh air. 2 finishes below 35th place, so something to get it back on the track. How are you feeling looking forward to next week's event at both Nashvilles? We're actually doing a doubleheader at the short track and the Super Speedway.
Oh, that'd be pretty fun. I think last season we were in Nashville. I think I was running pretty good, and then I'll probably be good at the short track because that's what I do in real life, and I'm usually pretty good on short tracks.
Definitely, we've seen you do well at the short tracks and the flat tracks here on the Elite Racing Network. But first win of the ARCA season. Before we let you go, any sponsors or shout outs?
No sponsor. Shout out to Chad. He puts all the stuff at Elite on. All you guys in the booth and producers for putting the broadcast on. My mom, dad, brother, sister, my grandparents watch. I don't know if Jay was watching tonight, but if you want to shout out him and neighbor Pete.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you for giving us some of your time here, Gavin. Congrats on the win. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again later on the season. Maybe even next week.
Hope.
All right, Ty. Well, I think that was a fun one tonight.
Yeah, no, I think, you look at last week and what happened there. I think we went a little long, but these guys tonight did a good job. Saw some good hard racing. We saw Gavin Higgins put him on the dash and let us kind of know that he's had some bad luck, but he's not quite done fighting for this championship if he has anything to say about it. Caleb Bakumer having the same night that he's had all season long so far. Scott Eckridge able to make the best of nature's call and still get a podium, so good for him. Next week, obviously, we talked about it with our interviews there. We got a doubleheader, Nashville Fairgrounds and Nashville Superspeedway. We're going to have two different kinds of racing for you here. Same time, same place. But I believe that is going to do it for us here on the Elite Racing Network. If you guys hope you guys have a good night. We'll see you next time.